The next thing for us to talk about is to take a look back at our if function, right? When we learned the if function, how we've been using it so far, it's a powerful modeling tool. You recall back in the applied analytics part one assignment that you did, right? How you made it. You said, hey, I really need to. If I'm not charging anything for this, I need to call this free, and if I am, I'll call it charge. And then that became really important as you were doing it and used it as a unit of analysis, right? In your analysis of the of that case study, and so. It's a powerful modeling, and that's really we'll look at that a bunch in our demonstration today. All the things that we can do to make this a much more robust tool for us. So far we've talked about it as just being a true or a false in the logical test, and then it having one outcome or two outcomes depending upon that, right? The true outcome or the false outcome, and we can do more. Right? We have two outcomes there, but we can do more. What if we want more than two outcomes, right? What if we need 3 or 4 or 5 outcomes, right? And so in our first example, when we learned this, the example we used was like a bonus, right? And we said, if you met the bonus hurdle, if that's true, then you get the $500 bonus, and if you don't, you get 0. Well, what if there was a third one? What if you could get 750, 500, or 0, right? What would you do then? Well, you can just write another if statement. And it's a nested, right? We're going to nest them together. We're going to write one if statement. We're going to put the other if statement inside of that. And the way this works is the original if statement has 2 outcomes, and then every one that we add after gives us 1 more outcome. So we always need 1 less if statement than we need outcomes. If we have 8 outcomes, we'll need 7 if statements. If we have 5 outcomes, we'll need 4 if statements. And this will become fairly clear as we start doing this together. This is the pattern for doing this, right? So I would say my normal if statement would be if your grade is equal to A plus, then give me a 4.3. And then I would probably say if it wasn't that, it was going to be 4.0, right? Because you could only have an A plus or an A. But what if an A minus was a possibility? Then I would have 4.3, 4.0, or 3.7. That's a third outcome, so I need another if statement. This is that next if statement. If A1 is equal to A, then 4.0, and if it's not that, then it must be 3.7 because it's not 4.3, it's not 4.0, it must be 3.7. So this is the second if statement, and what we're going to do is we're going to stick it right in there where the false would be in the original if statement. When we get to all put together, this is what we got. We got if, the normal if statement, and then when we get to where the false would be, we stick a whole another if statement in there, and we'll do that a bunch together today, and we'll make that work so that makes sense, right? And there's the way there's written out like that. Okay, so if, test, then, and then instead of having the else, we put if, and we put a whole other if statement in there, and that's got 2 outcomes. There's 1 outcome, there's 1 outcome, there's 1 outcome, so that gives us 3 outcomes and 2 if statements. So far today we've talked about a bunch of ways that we can use ifs, right? Here's the old tried and true, the way we learned it first, right? It's just if logical test, then if true, else if false, right? Then we talked about, hey, what if we nested an and function in there? What if we nested an or function in there? And then finally, what if we nested another if function inside of there, all right? I know, I told you it was going to be tough, right?